Chapter 1. Why the Morning Owns Your Life. The 4 a.m. Rule. Win Your Morning, Win Your Life. Written and published by Mindset Masters Audiobook. The quality of your life is shaped long before most people open their eyes. While the world sleeps, something powerful is available to you: clarity, direction, control. At 4 a.m., distractions are silent, expectations are gone, and the noise of the world has not yet claimed your attention. This hour is not magical because of the clock itself. It is powerful because of what it removes and what it reveals. Most people believe success is built during the busiest hours of the day. In reality, success is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching. The morning decides whether you lead your day or react to it. And the earlier you take control, the stronger that leadership becomes. The 4 a.m. rule is not about waking up early to suffer. It is about waking up early to win. The hidden cost of late mornings. When you wake up late, you begin your day behind. Messages have already arrived. Problems are already waiting. Other people's priorities are already pressing on you. Your nervous system starts the day in reaction mode, rushed, scattered, defensive. This creates a subtle but damaging pattern. You rush the morning. You chase the day. You feel behind all afternoon. You promise to do better tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes the same. Late mornings don't just steal time. They steal authority. When your day starts in reaction, your mind never fully catches up. You spend your energy responding instead of creating. Over time, this erodes confidence, discipline, and self-trust. You may still work hard. You may still stay busy. But you feel like life is always one step ahead of you. The 4 a.m. rule breaks this cycle completely. Why 4 a.m. changes everything. At 4 a.m., the world gives you a rare gift: undisturbed time. No notifications. No expectations. No noise. This silence does something profound to your mind. It allows your thoughts to slow down. It creates space between impulse and action. It restores a sense of control that modern life constantly steals. In this space, you are not a worker, a responder, or a follower. You are a builder. This is when you think clearly. This is when you plan deeply. This is when discipline becomes natural. The early morning is not about productivity first. It is about identity first. When you wake up at 4 a.m. consistently, your self-image shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles with discipline and start seeing yourself as someone who leads their own life. That shift changes everything. Discipline is built before motivation. Most people wait to feel motivated before they act. The 4 a.m. rule teaches the opposite truth. Action creates motivation. Waking up early, especially when it's uncomfortable, trains your nervous system to obey intention instead of emotion. Each morning you rise before comfort, you strengthen a mental muscle that carries into every area of life. You become someone who does what needs to be done, acts without negotiation, moves forward regardless of mood. This is not harsh discipline. It is calm authority over yourself. At 4 a.m., there is no audience, no praise, no validation, just you keeping a promise to yourself. That quiet integrity builds an unshakable confidence that no external success can replace. The psychological advantage of early rising. When you wake up before the world, you experience a powerful psychological shift. You are ahead. This doesn't come from comparison. It comes from preparation. By the time others wake up, you've already thought deeply. You've already moved your body. You've already aligned your priorities. You've already invested in yourself. This creates a calm momentum that carries through the entire day. Problems feel smaller. Decisions feel clearer. Pressure feels manageable. You are no longer trying to catch up. You are directing the flow. This is why the 4 a.m. rule is not about doing more. It is about feeling in control. Winning the morning is winning the mind. Your mind is most programmable in the early morning. It is not yet flooded with information, emotion, or stress. What you feed it during this window shapes your thoughts for the rest of the day. If you begin the day with a silence, intention, focus, a movement, purpose, your mind adopts those qualities. If you begin the day with chaos, a screens, a urgency, a reaction, your mind mirrors that instead. The 4 a.m. rule gives you control over your mental input at the most influential time of day. Over weeks and months, this compounds into emotional stability, focus, and resilience. You stop feeling overwhelmed, not because life gets easier, but because your mind gets stronger. This is not about perfection. The 4 a.m. rule is not about never missing a day. It is about building identity through consistency, not intensity. Some mornings will be hard. Some nights won't go as planned. That's normal. What matters is returning to the practice, not quitting because it's uncomfortable. This rule is not a punishment. It is a commitment to self-respect. Each early morning is a quiet statement. I choose my future over my comfort. I lead myself before leading anything else. I take control before the world asks for it. That identity compounds faster than any habit. The life that follows the morning. When you win your mornings consistently, your life begins to reorganize itself. You waste less time, make clearer decisions, build stronger discipline, feel calmer under pressure, trust yourself more. Your days feel intentional instead of accidental. This is not because waking up early magically fixes everything. It's because early mornings create the mental conditions required for growth. They give you space to think. They give you time to prepare. They give you control before chaos arrives. The commitment starts now. The 4 a.m. rule is not about tomorrow. It is about the next decision you make. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be intentional. This book will guide you step by step through building the mindset, structure, and discipline to own your mornings, and through them, your life. Everything changes when you stop reacting to the day and start designing it. And that design begins in the quiet, powerful hours before sunrise. Chapter 2. Reprogramming your sleep, reclaiming your power. Waking up at 4 a.m. is not a battle against sleep. It is a negotiation with identity. Most people fail at early rising because they treat it as a mechanical problem, alarms, hacks, tricks, when it is actually a psychological alignment problem. Your body follows your beliefs. Your habits follow your self-image. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with discipline, your nervous system will resist every early alarm. If you see yourself as someone who leads their life, your body adapts faster than you expect. This chapter is about removing the internal resistance that makes early mornings feel impossible, and replacing it with calm, sustainable control. Why your body resists early mornings. Your body is not lazy. It is protective. It resists waking up early because it associates mornings with stress, rushing, pressure, and depletion. If your past mornings were chaotic, your nervous system learned to avoid them. When the alarm rings, your brain isn't choosing comfort, it's avoiding perceived threat. To change this, you must change what mornings mean to your mind. Early rising becomes effortless when your body associates it with calm, control, clarity, a reward, a safety. Until that association shifts, willpower alone will always fail. The real purpose of sleep discipline. Sleep discipline is not about forcing yourself to bed early. It is about closing the day properly. Most people go to sleep mentally overstimulated. Screens, unresolved thoughts, emotional noise. Their mind never fully powers down. When morning arrives, the brain wants more rest, not because of sleep duration alone, but because of mental exhaustion. To wake up early consistently, your nights must become intentional. This means ending stimulation earlier, slowing your mind before bed, creating a sense of completion. When the mind feels unfinished, it resists waking. When it feels settled, it rises naturally. The evening determines the morning. You do not wake up at 4 a.m. by deciding at 4 a.m. You wake up at 4 a.m. by deciding the night before. Every successful early riser has one thing in common. Their evenings are boring, predictable, and controlled. This is not restrictive. It is freeing. A powerful evening routine signals to your brain. The day is complete. You are safe. Rest is allowed. This reduces mental friction in the morning. Key principles. A same sleep window most nights. A reduced stimulation 60 to 90 minutes before bed. A clear shutdown ritual, journaling, reading, reflection. And no emotional carryover into sleep. Consistency here matters more than perfection. Identity-based sleep discipline. Stop telling yourself, "I'm not a morning person." That sentence trains resistance. Instead, adopt this identity. I'm someone who wakes up early to lead my day. Identity precedes habit. Habit reinforces identity. Each time you wake up early, even imperfectly, you collect evidence. That evidence rewires your self-image. Over time, waking early stops feeling heroic and starts feeling normal. You don't rise because you force yourself. You rise because it's who you are. The first 10 minutes matter most. The most dangerous moment of early rising is not the alarm, it's the pause afterward. The longer you stay still, the more your mind negotiates. The goal is not to feel awake. The goal is to move before thought. Your rule. Alarm movement light water. No decisions. No reflection. No negotiation. Your body will catch up. This trains automaticity. Automatic habits require far less energy than emotional decisions. Using light to reset your biology. Light is a powerful biological signal. Darkness tells your body to sleep. Light tells it to rise. Early mornings become easier when you turn on bright lights immediately. Avoid staying in darkness. Expose your eyes to light quickly. This suppresses melatonin and activates alertness hormones naturally. You are not fighting biology. You are using it. Removing the emotional drama. Most people attach emotion to waking up early. This is hard. I hate mornings. I'm tired. These narratives exhaust you before the day even begins. Replace emotion with neutrality. Early rising is not good or bad. It is simply what you do. Calm execution beats emotional motivation every time. Progress without burnout. You don't need to jump straight to 4 a.m. immediately. You need directional consistency. Move your wake-up time earlier gradually if needed. What matters is maintaining the identity and the system. Discipline compounds when it feels sustainable. Burnout happens when discipline is fueled by ego. Longevity happens when discipline is fueled by clarity. The quiet confidence of control. When you master your sleep and mornings, something subtle but powerful happens. Self-trust increases. You stop doubting yourself. You stop breaking promises to yourself. You feel internally aligned. That confidence spills into work, relationships, and decisions. This is not about productivity. It is about authority over your own mind. The foundation is set. By reclaiming your nights, you reclaim your mornings. By reclaiming your mornings, you reclaim your days. By reclaiming your days, you reclaim your life. Early rising is not a sacrifice. It is a return to self-command. Chapter 3. Designing the perfect 4 a.m. hour. Waking up early without direction is useless. Waking up early with structure is life-changing. The power of the 4 a.m. rule does not come from the time itself. It comes from what you do during the first uninterrupted hour of your day. This hour is not for checking messages, reacting to problems, or rushing into work. It is for setting the tone of your mind before the world begins to pull on you. Most people lose their mornings because they treat them casually. High-control individuals treat mornings as sacred architecture. Every action has a purpose. Every minute has intention. Nothing is random. This chapter will show you how to design a 4 a.m. hour that builds calm discipline, deep focus, and long-term consistency, without pressure or burnout. The purpose of the first hour. The first hour of your day has one job: to put you in control of your mind before external demands arrive. This is not about doing as much as possible. It is about doing the right things in the right order. A powerful morning hour should stabilize your nervous system, strengthen your discipline identity, clarify your priorities, prepare your mind for focused action. If your first hour does not accomplish these goals, it is noise, not leverage. Rule 1. No input before output. The fastest way to destroy a strong morning is to consume before you create. Messages, news, social media, and notifications hand control of your mind to other people. Once that happens, regaining focus is difficult. Your rule is simple: no external input before internal alignment. This means no phone scrolling, no emails, no news, no conversations. You are not avoiding responsibility. You are preparing to handle it well. Phase 1. Stillness and grounding. The first phase of the 4 a.m. hour is about settling your mind, not activating it. You are transitioning from unconsciousness to intention. Rushing this transition creates anxiety. Respecting it creates clarity. Stillness can include quiet sitting, controlled breathing, a short meditation, a silent reflection. This does not need to be long. Even 5 to 10 minutes is enough. The goal is to slow your thoughts and remind your nervous system: you are safe. You are in control. This creates emotional stability for the entire day. Phase 2. Physical activation. After stillness, the body must move. Movement signals readiness. It wakes up your energy systems and removes mental fog. You do not need extreme workouts. You need consistent activation. Options include a stretching, a walking, a light strength work, a mobility exercises. The purpose is not fitness, it is state change. A moving body produces a focused mind. Phase 3. Mental conditioning. Once your body is awake and your mind is calm, this is the perfect time for mental training. This is when you read, a journal, a reflect, plan. The mind is quiet. Distractions are absent. Insight comes easily. Focus on long-term goals, personal development, strategic thinking, for identity reinforcement. This is where growth compounds. 10 focused minutes here is more valuable than an hour later in the day. Phase 4. Intentional planning. Do not plan your entire day. Plan your top priorities. Ask yourself, what truly matters today? What moves my life forward? What must not be avoided? Choose 1 to 3 key actions. This prevents overwhelm and creates precision. When you know what matters, everything else becomes secondary. What to avoid at all costs. The 4 a.m. hour is fragile. Protect it. Avoid a checking your phone, just quickly, a multitasking, a rushing, overloading the hour. The goal is quality, not quantity. This hour is not for productivity pressure. It is for mental alignment. Why this hour changes your identity. When you consistently use the early morning for self-command, something subtle happens. You stop feeling reactive. You stop feeling scattered. You stop feeling behind. You start feeling grounded, prepared, focused, calmly confident. Discipline stops feeling forced because your system supports it. You are no longer trying to control your life, you are designing it. Simplicity beats complexity. Many people fail because they over-design their mornings. Too many steps create friction. Your morning hour should feel simple, predictable, calm. The simpler it is, the more likely it is to last. Consistency beats intensity every time. The silent advantage. While others wake up rushed, you wake up prepared. While others react, you execute. While others chase the day, you lead it. This advantage is invisible, but powerful. No one needs to know what time you wake up. They will see it in your calm, your focus, and your consistency. The structure is now set. You now understand why mornings matter. A how to reclaim sleep. A how to structure the 4 a.m. hour. From here, the focus shifts to protecting this system under real-world pressure, stress, fatigue, travel, and unexpected challenges. Chapter 4. Destroying excuses before they destroy discipline. Every disciplined life is built on a single skill: the ability to act without negotiating with excuses. Excuses are not loud. They are subtle, reasonable, and convincing. They do not announce themselves as weakness. They arrive disguised as logic, self-care, and common sense. And if you are not aware of how they operate, they will quietly dismantle even the strongest intentions. This chapter is about exposing excuses for what they truly are, not enemies to fight, but signals to understand and override calmly. Why excuses feel so real? Excuses feel real because they are generated by a protective system in the brain. That system is designed to conserve energy and avoid discomfort. Early rising, focused work, and discipline all trigger mild discomfort. The brain responds by offering relief-based reasoning. Common examples: I didn't sleep well, I'll start tomorrow. I'll be more productive if I rest today. Missing one day won't matter. I deserve a break. Each excuse contains a grain of truth. That's what makes it dangerous. The problem is not the excuse itself, it's the pattern of agreement with it. Excuses are not commands. The most important realization you can have is this: thoughts are not instructions. Your mind produces suggestions constantly. Some are useful. Some are protective. Some are outdated. You do not need to obey all of them. Discipline improves the moment you stop asking, "Is this excuse valid?" and start asking, "Does this action align with who I am becoming?" Identity-based discipline is immune to momentary reasoning. The negotiation trap. Most people lose discipline during negotiation. They wake up and ask, "How do I feel? What's the smartest choice? Should I push or rest?" This turns action into debate. High-discipline individuals remove negotiation entirely. Their rule is simple: decide once, execute daily. The decision to wake up early was made ahead of time. Morning execution is automatic. This is how discipline becomes light instead of heavy. Recognizing your personal excuse patterns. Everyone has a few favorite excuses they repeat. Identify yours. Pay attention to the phrases you use when avoiding action, the timing of resistance, the emotional tone behind the excuse. Awareness weakens excuses instantly. What was unconscious loses power when named. Once you see the pattern, you stop taking it personally. This is not you being lazy. This is your nervous system protecting comfort. The calm override technique. Discipline does not require aggression. It requires calm authority. When an excuse appears, acknowledge it without judgment. Do not argue with it. Act anyway. Example: I hear the resistance. We're still getting up. No emotion. No force. No drama. This trains the brain that excuses are noted, but not obeyed. Separating fatigue from avoidance. Not all resistance should be ignored. Some signals are legitimate. The difference between fatigue and avoidance is consistency. Fatigue is rare. Has physical signs. Improves with rest. Avoidance appears frequently. Is emotional. Disappears once action starts. If resistance vanishes after 5 minutes of movement, it was not fatigue. Learning this distinction prevents burnout without enabling weakness. The power of starting ugly. You do not need perfect mornings to maintain discipline. You need started mornings. Some days will feel sharp. Some days will feel slow. Discipline is not about performance. It is about showing up. Starting ugly still counts. Consistency beats quality. Emotional detachment from comfort. Comfort is not evil, but it is not in charge. When comfort becomes the decision-maker, growth stops. Train yourself to see discomfort as neutral, not something to chase or avoid. Early mornings are simply a condition of your chosen life. No story. No drama. The identity lock-in. Each time you override an excuse, you reinforce identity. You are not proving discipline to the world. You are proving it to your nervous system. The brain learns. This is who we are now. Over time, excuses weaken because they no longer match identity. When discipline becomes quiet, the goal is not to feel powerful. The goal is to feel stable. True discipline is quiet. It does not need motivation. It does not need intensity. It runs automatically. The shift that changes everything. When you stop fighting excuses and start ignoring them, discipline becomes sustainable. You do not need to win every internal argument. You need to stop having them. Chapter 5. Energy, not willpower, sustains early mornings. Willpower is unreliable. Energy is not. Most people believe discipline is about trying harder. In reality, discipline collapses when energy is ignored. You can have the strongest intentions in the world, but if your energy systems are depleted, resistance will win. The 4 a.m. rule succeeds not because of extreme effort, but because it teaches you how to protect and manage your energy so discipline feels natural instead of forced. This chapter is about building mornings that fuel you, not drain you. Why willpower fails repeatedly. Willpower is a short-term resource. It is influenced by a sleep quality, a stress, a nutrition, emotional load, a decision fatigue. When willpower is overused, discipline turns into struggle. People who rely on willpower experience cycles. Motivation, effort, exhaustion, collapse, guilt. Energy-based discipline avoids this entirely. Early rising should increase energy, not reduce it. If waking up early consistently makes you feel exhausted, something is wrong with the structure, not you. The purpose of early mornings is to create calm, reduce mental clutter, increase focus, improve emotional regulation. If your mornings feel rushed, overloaded, or pressured, they are draining your system. Your morning must give more energy than it takes. The 3 types of energy you must protect. Discipline requires managing 3 energy systems. Physical energy, built through sleep, movement, hydration, and nutrition. Mental energy, preserved through focus, boundaries, and reduced decision-making. Emotional energy, protected by calm routines, clarity, and self-trust. If any one of these is neglected, discipline weakens. Physical energy, the non-negotiables. You cannot negotiate with biology. To sustain early mornings, a sleep duration must be sufficient. A hydration must be consistent. A light movement must happen daily. Perfection is not required. Consistency is. Even mild dehydration or sleep debt magnifies resistance. Your body supports discipline when it feels cared for. Mental energy, reducing cognitive load. Most people exhaust themselves before noon, not from work, but from thinking too much. Every unnecessary decision drains mental energy. Early mornings reduce this by using fixed routines, removing choice, creating predictability. When your morning is automatic, your mind stays fresh. Discipline thrives in simplicity. Emotional energy, ending the day clean. Unresolved emotions drain energy silently. If you carry stress, frustration, or unfinished thoughts into sleep, your nervous system never resets. This creates morning resistance. Simple evening practices protect emotional energy. Writing down concerns. Planning tomorrow's priorities. Acknowledging progress. Closure creates rest. The myth of constant productivity. The 4 a.m. rule is not about doing more. It is about doing less better. High performers rest intentionally. They do not grind endlessly. Energy-aware discipline includes strategic breaks, lower intensity days, flexible recovery. Consistency matters more than volume. Protecting the morning from drain. Your morning should not include the emotional conversations, a heavy decision-making, external pressure, a multitasking. These belong later in the day. The morning is for alignment, not output pressure. food, stimulation, and timing. Avoid overstimulation early. Excessive caffeine, sugar, or screen exposure creates spikes followed by crashes. Calm energy lasts longer than forced alertness. The goal is steady focus, not artificial intensity. Sustainable discipline feels calm. When energy is managed correctly, you wake up without dread. The focus comes easier. A resistance fades faster. A discipline feels neutral. This is how early mornings become a lifestyle, not a challenge. The long game of energy. Burnout comes from disrespecting limit. Longevity comes from honoring them. Early rising works when it is paired with intelligent recovery. You are building a system you will live inside, not a test you must pass. The foundation is strengthening. You now understand a why willpower fails, a how energy supports discipline, a how to protect your system. Chapter 6. Training deep focus in a distracted world. Focus is no longer a natural state. It is a trained skill. The modern world fragments attention constantly. Notifications, messages, noise, and urgency pull the mind in dozens of directions before the day even begins. Most people are not unfocused because they are incapable. They are unfocused because their environment trains distraction. The 4 a.m. rule gives you a rare advantage, a window where focus can be rebuilt without interference. This chapter is about using early mornings to retrain your ability to concentrate deeply and protect that focus throughout the day. Why focus determines everything. Talent without focus produces little. Effort without focus produces burnout. Focus determines quality of work, the speed of progress, the emotional stability, the decision-making clarity. When focus improves, everything else follows naturally. This is why the early morning is so powerful. It allows focus to be trained before distraction takes hold. Focus is a state, not a trait. Most people believe they lack focus. In reality, focus is a state created by conditions. Focus emerges when the mind is calm, the environment is quiet, goals are clear, distractions are removed. The 4 a.m. environment naturally meets these conditions. By practicing focus here, you rebuild the mental muscle without force. The morning focus window. Your brain has a natural rhythm. In the early morning, cognitive interference is low. The emotional noise is minimal. A mental stamina is high. This makes it the ideal time for deep thinking, creative work, a learning, a strategic planning. Even 30 minutes of deep focus here compounds dramatically. One task, one direction. The fastest way to destroy focus is multitasking. Your morning rule. One task, one direction, one container of time. No switching, no checking, no interruptions. This trains the brain to stay with discomfort instead of escaping it. Focus is strengthened by discomfort. The moment you want to stop focusing is the moment focus is being trained. Do not seek comfort. Do not escape boredom. Stay. This builds mental endurance. Each time you resist distraction, you strengthen the ability to do it again. Reducing cognitive noise. Noise is not just sound, it is mental clutter. Reduce it by writing down distracting thoughts, clearing your workspace, pre-deciding your focus task. The mind focuses when it feels organized. Protecting focus after the morning. Morning focus sets the tone, but protection is required. Simple rules. A batch communication. Turn off non-essential notifications. Schedule deep work blocks. Focus must be defended intentionally. Focus over intensity. You do not need long hours. You need clean attention. 30 focused minutes outperform 3 distracted hours. Early mornings train quality over quantity. The emotional benefit of focus. Deep focus produces calm. When your mind is engaged fully, anxiety decreases. Rumination fades. Presence increases. This emotional regulation is one of the hidden benefits of early rising. The identity shift. You stop saying, "I can't concentrate." You start experiencing, I enter focus naturally. Identity follows experience. Focus becomes transferable. Once trained, focus spreads. A work improves. Conversations deepen. A decisions sharpen. The early morning becomes the foundation for mental excellence. What comes next? You now control your mornings, your energy, your focus. Chapter 7. Consistency when life gets uncomfortable. Discipline is easy when conditions are perfect. Transformation happens when they are not. The true test of the 4 a.m. rule is not whether you can follow it on calm, predictable days, but whether you can maintain consistency when life disrupts your routine. Travel, stress, late nights, emotional strain, and unexpected responsibilities will challenge your system. If your discipline depends on ideal circumstances, it will collapse under pressure. This chapter is about building resilient consistency, the kind that survives real life. Why most routines break? Most routines are fragile because they are built on a motivation, perfection, or rigid expectations. When something goes wrong, people interpret disruption as failure and quit entirely. High-discipline individuals think differently. They understand that consistency is not about repetition. It is about returning. The rule of minimum execution. When life becomes chaotic, lower the standard, but never drop the habit. This is critical. On difficult days, wake up earlier than usual, even if not at 4 a.m. Do a shorter morning routine. Keep the structure intact. A reduced version preserves identity. 0 breaks identity. The power of non-zero days. A non-zero day means you did something. 5 minutes of focus beats 0. 1 page read beats none. 1 early rise beats sleeping in fully. Momentum is preserved through action, not intensity. Planning for imperfection. Consistency improves when you expect disruption. Build flexibility into your system. A backup wake-up times. Short routines for travel days. A recovery mornings after late night. This removes guilt and prevents collapse. Emotional discipline during disruption. Stress triggers regression. When emotional pressure rises, the brain seeks comfort. Early mornings may feel harder during these periods. Not because the habit is wrong, but because it is working. Do not abandon structure during stress. Structure is what stabilizes you. Travel, social life, and late night. The goal is not isolation. The goal is intentional trade-off. Sometimes you will choose a late night. When you do, adjust, don't quit. Discipline, adapt. The recovery principle. Missing 1 day is a stumble. Missing 2 is a trend. Recovery speed matters more than perfection. Your rule. Return immediately without guilt. Guilt drains energy. Action restores it. The identity anchor. Ask yourself, what would someone who lives this way do next? Identity-based decisions bypass emotion. The long view. Discipline compounds slowly. Consistency compounds invisibly. What feels small today becomes powerful over time. The strength of quiet commitment. No one needs to know how consistent you are. You will feel it in your confidence. Chapter 8. Turning early mornings into lasting identity. Discipline is not a habit. It is a reflection of who you are. By now, the 4 a.m. rule has become familiar. You wake early, protect your energy, train focus, and maintain consistency even under stress. But these are still practices, actions you do. The ultimate goal is to internalize the morning as part of your identity so that waking at 4 a.m. is no longer a challenge, but a natural expression of who you are. This chapter is about embedding the early morning into your very sense of self, so discipline is no longer effort but instinct. Identity precedes action. Most people think they need motivation or habits to shape identity. The truth is reversed. Identity shapes habit. You do not rise at 4 a.m. because you force yourself. You rise because your identity says, I am someone who owns my day. Habits follow naturally from who you believe you are. The more consistent your actions, the stronger the identity becomes. Eventually, discipline requires almost no thought. It is automatic. Reinforcing identity through rituals. Rituals are identity amplifiers. They communicate to your mind, "This is who I am." To embed the 4 a.m. rule. Keep a consistent wake-up time. Follow a structured first hour. Use signature practices that signify leadership and focus. Examples: a journaling for clarity, a light exercise for activation, a planning top priorities for the day. These rituals are anchors for identity. They reinforce the truth of your capabilities every day. Internalizing the morning advantage. When identity is internalized, external conditions matter less. Travel, social events, stress, they become challenges, not excuses. Your early rising is non-negotiable because it defines you, not because the conditions are ideal. This shift removes guilt, negotiation, and reliance on motivation. Discipline stops being a choice. It becomes your default state. The compounding effect. The early morning shapes more than productivity. Over weeks and months, it rewires. A self-confidence, a mental clarity, the emotional stability, a strategic thinking, a leadership capacity. Small, consistent actions produce monumental internal changes. Discipline becomes effortless because you have trained your nervous system to obey your identity automatically. Mental rehearsal and self-perception. Visualization is a tool for reinforcing identity. Each night before sleep, close your eyes and visualize waking at 4 a.m. See yourself completing your first hour with focus and energy. Imagine the confidence, clarity, and calm it produces. This primes your brain. Morning execution becomes a continuation of the rehearsal rather than a negotiation. Removing external validation. Early mornings are powerful because no one else is watching. You no longer need praise, recognition, or comparison to sustain discipline. You act because it aligns with who you are, not to impress or compete. This creates inner freedom. You are accountable only to yourself. Emotional stability through identity. Internalized discipline reduces reactive emotions. Stress, setbacks, and obstacles do not shake you because your nervous system is trained to operate from control, not chaos. Early rising becomes a stabilizing force in a world designed to distract and drain. The role of reflection. Reflection strengthens identity. How did my actions today reflect the person I want to become? What could I adjust to better align with my values? Did I honor the first hour of the day? Reflection ensures that action and identity remain tightly connected. Habits become character. The point of early rising is not the time on the clock. It is what the discipline produces in you. Confidence, focus, calm authority, a self-trust, a resilience. This is no longer a habit. This is who you are. Chapter 9. Leading your life through the morning. The early morning is more than a personal victory. It is the foundation for leading your own life and eventually influencing the world around you. Discipline in the first hour translates directly into discipline in action. When you own your mornings, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. You stop drifting through obligations and start creating impact with intention. This chapter is about leveraging the 4 a.m. rule to build personal leadership, clarity, and influence without sacrificing balance or calm. Leadership begins with self-mastery. True leadership is not about position or authority. It is about self-command. If you cannot lead your own day, you cannot lead your work, relationships, or projects effectively. The 4 a.m. rule teaches leadership from the inside out. The sequence is simple. Control your morning. Strengthen your mind. Expand control to your day. Influence your environment. Mastery starts within, and mornings are the proving ground. From routine to authority. When you consistently practice the first hour, you gain clarity on priorities. You gain mental energy for tough decisions. You gain emotional calm for conflict and stress. This positions you to lead calmly and effectively, not reactively. Authority becomes a function of your mental and emotional state, not external validation. Decision mastery. Your morning creates a decision advantage. By 8 a.m., most people have reacted to messages, responded to requests, managed emergencies. By 8 a.m., you have clarified priorities, strategically planned your task, activated your energy, entered focus state. This gives you a mental edge. The day bends to your design instead of your reaction. Emotional leadership. Consistency in early rising creates a stable emotional baseline. You become less reactive, more present, and more patient. Emotional leadership is contagious. You influence others through calm action rather than loud instruction. Time as a resource, not a constraint. By taking the first hour for yourself, you create unclaimed time in the day. Reduce overwhelm. Build leverage for work, creativity, and growth. Time stops being your enemy. It becomes your ally. Influence without effort. Early rising builds influence silently. People notice your calm under pressure, your decisiveness, your preparation. They do not notice the hours you invest before sunrise. The effect is subtle, consistent, and powerful. The compound effect of leadership. Leadership is rarely explosive. It is gradual and compounding. Each day you lead yourself through intentional mornings. A habit strengthens. Confidence grows. Clarity becomes automatic. Over months and years, this creates a life aligned with your goals, values, and ambitions. Protecting your leadership practices. As your mornings solidify, external demands may try to intrude. Protect them by treating your 4 a.m. hour as non-negotiable. Communicating boundaries clearly. Using flexible structures to adapt without abandoning core practices. Leadership is as much about defense as action. From self-mastery to life mastery. The chain is clear. Own the morning. Build discipline. Strengthen focus and energy. Lead your day. Build influence. Shape your life. The 4 a.m. rule is the first link in a chain that leads to control, confidence, and meaningful achievement. Chapter 10. Momentum and Long-Term Growth. Discipline is not a single act. It is a compound process. By now, the 4 a.m. rule is embedded in your life. You wake early, protect your energy, train focus, override excuses, and lead your day. But real power comes when this consistency compounds over weeks, months, and years. Momentum transforms small, deliberate actions into extraordinary results, without stress or struggle. This chapter is about turning your mornings into a long-term growth engine that expands every aspect of your life. The compound effect of daily action. Momentum is built quietly and invisibly. Each early morning is a deposit in the bank of your potential. Small actions repeat daily. Planning your priorities, training focus, exercising, reflecting. Individually, each seems minor. Collectively, they compound into measurable life changes, improved discipline, clarity, confidence, and skill. This is the true power of consistency over intensity. Energy and focus as leverage. Momentum depends on maintaining the conditions that created it. Energy and focus are your leverage points. High-energy mornings make decisions easier. Deep focus increases output. Emotional stability prevents regression. When these systems operate together, a resistance diminishes, or excuses fail. A discipline becomes effortless. You are no longer fighting the day, you are shaping it. Tracking progress. Momentum thrives on feedback. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Track. A wake-up consistency. A morning routine completion. Priority achievement. The emotional state. This is not for judgment, it is for clarity and growth. Awareness keeps the compound effect aligned. Scaling success. The habits developed in the early morning ripple outward. They affect a work performance, personal relationships, the emotional resilience, creativity and problem solving. By protecting the first hour, you scale personal success naturally. Momentum amplifies every area of life without extra effort. Avoiding plateau. Even momentum can stall. To prevent stagnation, slightly increase the challenge. Add new learning or growth tasks. Review long-term goals regularly. The goal is not constant intensity. The goal is directional progress. Momentum is about motion over perfection. Protecting your morning engine. Momentum is fragile when external stressors interfere. Protect it by keeping the 4 a.m. hour sacred, planning evenings to support sleep and recovery, adjusting routines during travel or high-pressure days, minimizing decision fatigue early. The first hour of the day is the engine of all progress. If it stalls, the entire system slows. Identity reinforces momentum. Your actions compound because they are aligned with identity. Each consistent morning reinforces, I am someone who leads my life. I am someone who can handle challenges calmly. I am someone who achieves long-term goals without struggle. Identity keeps momentum alive even when motivation wanes. Momentum in real life. The most successful people rarely rely on bursts of inspiration. They rely on daily, consistent leverage. Momentum is visible over months, not days. Your early mornings create this advantage automatically. Avoiding burnout while growing. Momentum is not about pushing harder. It is about building a system that supports growth naturally. Use energy management principles. Respect recovery needs. Maintain flexibility without breaking the morning habit. Sustainable growth is consistent, calm, and resilient. The long-term payoff. If you maintain the 4 a.m. rule for a year, a focus becomes effortless. A decision-making improves dramatically. The emotional stability solidifies. A leadership capacity strengthens. Your mornings are no longer just a habit, they are a life-transforming practice. Chapter 11. Mastery and Lifelong Application. You have arrived at the final stage of the 4 a.m. rule, not the end of effort but the beginning of lifelong mastery. Early rising is no longer a challenge. It is a part of who you are. But mastery is not simply about discipline or action, it is about integration. How your mornings shape your identity, influence your choices, and compound into a life of clarity, purpose, and calm leadership. This chapter is about making the 4 a.m. rule permanent, sustainable, and adaptable for a lifetime. Mastery is the silent advantage. Mastery is invisible to the outside world. It is not measured by the clock, achievements, or recognition. It is measured by the internal freedom and authority you experience. When you are mastered, you act without hesitation, think without noise, and lead without friction. Your nervous system runs in alignment with your goals. You no longer need motivation, it is embedded in your identity. Integration into your life. Discipline works best when it integrates seamlessly into daily life. The 4 a.m. rule is not a rigid ritual to survive, it is a framework to thrive. Integration involves adapting routines without compromising core principles, maintain the first hour's integrity, but adjust for travel, social events, or life changes. Embedding lessons into habits beyond the morning decision-making, focus, energy management, and emotional control must extend into work, relationships, and personal growth. Continuous reflection and adjustment, even mastery is iterative. Check in with yourself to refine routines, priorities, and goals. The identity advantage. Identity is the engine of all long-term success. By this stage, waking at 4 a.m. is no longer a challenge. It is who you are. Every day reinforces. I am someone who controls my day. I am someone who leads with clarity and calm. I am someone who acts first and reacts less. This identity acts as a compass when life becomes unpredictable. It makes decision-making effortless, excuses irrelevant, and momentum automatic. compounding over years. Mastery is not instant. It compounds. A 1 week of 4 a.m. mornings, you feel energized and focused. A 1 month, small but visible gains in discipline, focus, and confidence. A 1 year, life-altering shifts in productivity, emotional stability, and leadership. A years of practice, your mornings shape your character, health, relationships, and success trajectory. This is the long-term payoff. The quiet, repeated investment in yourself builds a foundation stronger than short-term bursts of effort. Applying mastery beyond mornings. The principles learned through early rising are universal. Energy management, apply it to work, learning, and relationship. A focus training, use it during meetings, projects, and creative work. Excuse overriding, apply it to challenges, procrastination, and difficult conversations. The identity-based decision-making, extend it to financial, personal, and career choices. Mornings become a laboratory for lifelong skills. The behaviors of 4 a.m. extend far beyond sunrise. They shape every action and decision. The calm power of control. By mastering mornings, you gain something most people never experience. Quiet authority over your life. You no longer feel rushed, reactive, or scattered. You move with purpose, clarity, and calm. You do not need constant motivation or external validation. Discipline is automatic because it is identity. This quiet power permeates everything: work, relationships, health, and personal growth. Preparing for challenges. Mastery does not mean perfection. Life will still present obstacles. A stressful work periods. Travel and time zone changes. A late nights or emotional strain. The difference is that mastery allows adaptation without collapse. The core principles, early rising, energy management, focus, and identity, remain intact. The system bends but does not break. Legacy of the 4 a.m. rule. When practiced over years, the 4 a.m. rule creates a legacy of self-command. You become the architect of your life. You influence others through example, not pressure. You accumulate clarity, discipline, and mental strength that compound quietly. This is how ordinary mornings transform into extraordinary life mastery. Your next step. Mastery is a daily choice, not a destination. Continue protecting your first hour, refining your routines, and living according to the identity you have cultivated. Every sunrise is a reminder. You do not chase life. You lead it. You do not react to circumstances. You design your days. You do not compromise on who you are becoming. The 4 a.m. rule is no longer a practice. It is a way of life. White heavy checkmark. End of audiobook content. Written and published by Mindset Masters Audiobook.